Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Happy Therapy Thursday. Yo, I'm excited. Are you excited?
We are excited, excited,
We
excited.
are excited because I brought a special guest tonight. You all have met Marcia before, but I'm going to let her introduce herself in a minute. Okay? Come on in, come in, share the live when you get in here. Okay? I'm Dr. Triffy. I'm a licensed psychologist in Atlanta, Georgia. I speak the way I do because although I work and practice in Georgia, I was born on a little island called Dominica, not to be confused with the Dominican Republic. We love them, but they're a completely different country. Okay?
Mhm.
So I show up on Thursdays to teach strategies to help us think better so we can feel better and we can do better. My highest intention is to help us transform our pain, the trauma, yeah, of life, transform that into passion,
Mm.
purpose, into power. And I was telling our lovely guest Marcia that I feel settled and grounded. I've been doing a lot of travel and working over the past few months, but I feel settled and
Mhm.
placed. And so I couldn't wait to invite her in. Marcia, welcome tonight. Welcome
Thank
tonight.
you, thank you, thank you. I'm always elated to join with you because we have fun,
Yes, we do.
we help people, and then they go out so that they can live their authentic life. So it's always a pleasure being with you, Dr. Trippett. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, Marcia, tonight's title of the podcast is Why the Deep Technique Works with a Narcissist. And I invited
Mm.
you because I want you to tell us a little bit about you because
Okay.
my main reason for including you tonight, for bearing on you, leaning on you tonight, is because I know this is an area where you've accumulated expertise in addition to all of your years as a therapist. So tell us a little bit about you.
So, for those that don't know me, or a reintroduction to those that have seen me, I am Marcia Blaine, a licensed professional counselor, now a certified professional clinical supervisor,
Yes.
a certified hypnotherapist, clinical hypnotherapist, as well as I do Reiki, I do
Yeah.
sound bowl, I major in trauma, and I
Yes.
minor in authentic living because I have to help you break down that trauma before
Yeah.
you can get to the authentic living. Narcissism is a passionate subject for me because so many people during COVID started throwing the term out. And they were
Hmm.
throwing the term out without a full understanding of what narcissism was, right? And
Yeah.
so they, would just say, oh, you're a narcissist, and you're this, and you're that. And they were literally using it to weaponize people to try
That
to
is
gain
true.
levels of control. And so
Hmm.
I began delving into it to really find that history. And I know we're going to talk about that and we're going to get into this
Hmm.
deep technique
Hmm.
because you have to know how to position yourself to fight against a narcissist. You have to know how to do that.
Yes,
And
you
you
do.
have to understand, let me say this. It's, I'm sorry, I don't know what I did. But you have to understand that that whole fixing thing that
Mm.
humans like to do, you
Mm.
can't fix a narcissist. It's
Especially
not
girl
possible.
humans in relationships. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And
Yeah.
and the truth is you have to know and understand the relationship with yourself first.
Hmm.
Because when you know the relationship within yourself and you're not waiting for external validation,
Right.
you can't get sucked in to the space of narcissism
And
because
if you
they
do have the misfortune of getting, taken by surprise, you know how to
mm-hmm,
pull yourself out. You know how
mm-hmm,
to rescue yourself.
exactly. and
Yeah.
and I want to say this to people that are supporting someone that may be in a relationship with a narcissist.
Hmm.
Here's what the truth is: stop asking them when are they going to leave. You've got to have an exit plan.
So you're suggesting stop giving the other person the power?
Stop asking the person that's in that relationship when they're going to leave, because
Mm.
they are wrestling with who they are so
Yes,
that they can become empowered to leave. So when you're having that conversation, Gary, you're so stupid, I'd go ahead and leave him. Well, you're
right.
not living it.
Yeah,
You're not living that mental
yeah,
abuse. You're not living that traumatic situation. You're on the outside, and the truth is, she ain't telling you everything.
that's right. You don't
He's
know
not
that.
telling everything. Exactly. Not
Yeah,
telling everything. And that's what the real truth is.
yes. And so tonight, y'all, what we're doing, one of my objectives for tonight's episode is to teach you, help you understand what narcissism truly looks like in real life.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's a difference between narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder, which is what Marcia is saying. That during COVID, a lot of people just started throwing the words around narcissistic, you're narcissistic, you're a narcissist, you're a narcissist. But it's not always that way. People might have narcissistic tendencies and traits, but they might not be completely,
Not might. They have them. We all have narcissistic traits because it's part of our natural survival.
yes,
It's when it becomes abusive, it's when we begin to see the problems. We all have a trait to say, I'm my best gift to myself.
that's right. I'm good.
That exactly.
Special. I'm wonderful.
Mm-hmm,
I'm unique.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yes.
And because the truth is if we don't cheer ourselves on, what happens when we have to depend on other cheerleaders?
Yeah.
You
Sometimes
know what I'm saying?
they're not dependable. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, as you're saying, it just took off.
Yes.
We all have the trait. It's what you do with the traits. It's like we all can get angry. It's what we choose to do with the anger.
Yes. Yes. All
Yes.
right. So another primary objective for tonight is that as we explore what narcissism is and what narcissistic personality disorder might look like, we want to teach you how to go deep to
Yes.
save yourself. Yeah, the deep strategy is a technique to help you, help me, help us communicate with the people in our lives who present with these narcissistic traits to such a degree that it hurts us. Yeah, it hurts us
Mm-hmm.
or it hurts other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it hurts animals, it hurts the earth. Yeah,
Yes. Oh my
yeah,
goodness. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. When you deal with someone that is narcissistic, um, it can become almost like a cult, like you're worshiping this person so that they don't discard you.
Mm,
Narcissists are known to always need someone to have them on a pedestal. If they are not on the pedestal, they will discard you. They will
mm.
talk
So
about
what
you.
might that look like in real life? What might that look like in real life?
So, just to get a little political for a moment, when we look at the current political environment and we look at one of the candidates and how they spiral, the moment that anyone that they've known and at one point lifted them up comes
Mm.
back and takes that lifting away from them, they immediately become an enemy to that person.
So you
They
mean they
will
start saying nasty things about that
absolutely.
person? They might threaten that person.
Mm-hmm,
They
mm-hmm.
might take things away from that
They'll
person.
even say, I don't really know that person,
Mm.
to try to discredit
Right,
what the person is saying
right.
because the person is exposing them for who
Mm,
they actually are. And
mm.
so, on a more personal level, what it could look like is like the movie Gaslighting, right?
Okay.
In that movie, she had a husband that was narcissistic.
Okay.
He had her believing that something was happening to her, that
Mm.
she was off, that she couldn't hold up herself. And he began to make her question herself because she had stopped trying to lift him up,
Mm.
right? And so what he did is he began to discredit her among everybody. Like the friends and everyone didn't want to be around because he had convinced them that she had lost her mind.
Mm.
And that's what actually takes place with a narcissist on a personal level. If you engage with a narcissist and you lifted them up, the moment that you try to stand on your own footing and empower yourself, they will then go to all the others and say, you know, she's not okay.
Yes, yes. So that strategy we call when the narcissist starts enlisting the support of other people, like your auntie, they call your
Mm-hmm.
auntie, they call their friends who might be your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Start saying things like, "Look, listen to the situation. Don't you think I'm right? Yeah, don't you think she's
Mm-hmm.
wrong or he's wrong?" And they
Mm-hmm.
call these people flying monkeys.
Yeah, but you know what? Even with the flying monkeys, the people that they're talking to a lot of times had some level of jealousy.
Yeah,
And so it's easy to
it's
suck them in
easy.
because you were the one that made it. You were the one that made life look good and all this kind of
Mhm,
stuff. And I
mm,
knew something was wrong with you. They're
yeah,
messy and
yes,
they're easy to be pulled in. And
yeah,
so that individual now feels like everyone around that was supposedly be supporting
mhm,
she's now figured out she had no support
mm, mm.
because the narcissist was turning.
Well, here's the thing though, narcissists appear to have developed very good skills at
Absolutely.
roping people in now
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
against other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a part of their natural characteristic to
Hmm.
pull them in because first they have a God complex.
What
I
is that?
am so a God complex is an individual that believes that they are better than everyone, including
That's
God.
right. That's right.
That no one can compare to them, that
Hmm.
they sit on this throne in everyone's life, but truly it's only in their imagination.
It's in their imagination.
Hmm.
Yes.
Because they have told themselves a story
Hmm.
that they believe. For example, if for those that don't know the history of the word narcissist, it comes from a boy named Narcissus.
Hmm.
His mother saw him to be the most handsome and the most beautiful, and no one could compare to him.
Hmm.
And so he believed the story. And in believing the story, one day he went to a pool of water and saw himself.
That's right.
And the story came to life. And in that story, all the women in kingdoms would come because they saw his beauty, they wanted him, they wanted to be with him for his strength and all that kind of stuff. And the only person that he could see was himself.
Hmm.
He never saw outside of himself to the point at the spot where he continued to be in love with him.
Well, why is that a problem? Why is that a
It's
problem?
not it's not a problem until it becomes abusive.
Mm.
You have to really love yourself in order to live an authentic life. When it
Hmm.
becomes abusive was when he was, I don't like saying brutally honest, but he was abusively honest. With, I
Yes.
don't want you. You're not enough for me.
So I want you to pause here for a second.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people with narcissistic tendencies who will
Mm-hmm.
tell you things like, well, it's my truth. I just, how come you can't take my truth? You're just being
Mm-hmm.
too sensitive. Yeah. What you're suggesting is that it's one thing to express your truth, but if you're using words meant to
Mm-hmm.
hurt, yeah, and cut people down.
Exactly. If your words are malicious, even if it is your truth, no
Mhm.
one's asking anyone to not live their truth. But when I live my truth, I don't have to demean somebody else.
Right. I don't have to
I
take
don't
you
have to
in.
tear, exactly, I don't have to tear you down from where you are to
Hmm.
live my truth. Now,
Hmm.
if my truth is I can no longer engage with you because of negative energy, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm protecting myself. I'm not demeaning you. I'm recognizing what I need from me. I'm
Yeah.
not coming back and saying, you're always negative. You're always this. You're always putting on me. Well, I don't need to say that. I can
Mm-hmm.
simply say, I have to choose for me to
Mm-hmm.
reduce our interactions because I
Yeah.
recognize for me
Yeah.
what the interactions are doing.
I get it.
That's you loving you enough to
Yes.
say, I'm not going to tolerate this behavior
Mm-hmm.
without being able to say, you're bad, you're
Yeah.
this, and you're that. Well, my truth is I know that you're not good for me.
Right.
You know you're not good for me. Why do I need to tell you that
Right.
without the intention of causing you harm? Because that's
Mm.
ultimately what's going to happen.
I get it.
And then that person is going to go on a crime victim spell. See
Meaning,
me, hey, I'm the victim. Did you hear how she treated me? Did you see that she cut me off? Did she do this? And did she? Yeah, they go on the crime victim spell.
mm-hmm.
Never acknowledging, like narcissists couldn't acknowledge that he was stuck in a place where he could not be in the lives of others in a healthy way.
Mm.
So it was always them the problem.
It was always the other person's fault.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yes,
mm-hmm.
yes, yes. So, guys, here's a definition for narcissism. Narcissism is characterized by an excessive preoccupation with oneself, a need for admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. So, you have to have those factors. Yes. People with narcissistic traits often exhibit grandiosity. That's what Marcia is saying, the idea that I'm better than you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm up here. Who do you think you are? Yeah, a sense of entitlement. I deserve. I deserve the best. I deserve the Gucci. I'm better than you because I've got to have the best, and I don't care what I have to do to get the best.
And
That
if you
might
don't give
be
it to me, you don't
exploiting you.
love me.
Exactly. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
give me what I want,
Mm-hmm.
what I've created in my head that I deserve,
Mm-hmm.
you are not loving me properly.
Mm-hmm.
You don't love
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
So
How
you
could
have
you
to
say you love me
right.
if you're not lifting me up? How
Yeah.
could you say you love me if you're not giving me what I want? How dare you say
Yeah.
no to me?
Yeah. And the thing is, the other person might be doing what they think is their best to quote
Absolutely.
unquote lift that person up.
Mm-hmm.
But if the narcissist is not experiencing it as if it's enough for them, they will go to the rest of the community and rope
Mm-hmm.
people in and say, hey, look, see what they did, see what they didn't
Mm-hmm.
do.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you agree with me that they don't
Mm-hmm.
love me? Look.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it gets heavy for the individual that is suffering under it, especially if they don't have a high self value.
Right.
And because they have a lot of times that happens with like people pleasers who get in relationships with a narcissist, they're
Hmm.
so busy trying to get that external validation that they don't know how to have internal validation. And
Right.
because of that, they get pulled into a breaking point.
So I'm hearing you say that the person on the receiving end of say that person who rejected their attempts to support them, that
Mhm.
person might start doubting themselves and asking,
Absolutely.
did I really, maybe I really was a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I
Mm-hmm.
really did what they said I did, although they know what they really did. Like they have the details, but they
Mm-hmm.
start to question themselves, especially if they are people who love to please other people or who themselves like to look good.
Mm-hmm.
They need
Absolutely.
external validation.
And then the moment that that person rises up and get an ounce of confidence
Yes.
to begin that walk of empowerment, then it's like, here come the flying monkeys.
Yeah.
They're going to jump on to that person and say, you know, that's a good man.
Or you so mean. Why are you doing that? You're really bad. Yeah. You're not nice anymore. You used to
Exactly.
be nice, but you're not nice anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's such a hard place to be in, especially if you find yourself isolated. Narcissists
Right.
really try to isolate you
How do
from
they
other
do?
people. So
How?
part of it is they move you into a situation where it's not easily accessible for family and friends to get to you. They begin to
Like, try to give us a practical example. Like, how exactly are they doing that? How are they putting you in a
so
position where other family can't support you?
so a lot of it is it could be a financial situation making you
Mhm,
dependent upon them.
mhm, mhm.
Two, they can begin saying, they don't want you with me because they're jealous.
That's
So
right.
now, if you ever had an idea that someone was jealous of you, guess
Mhm.
what? They
Yeah.
just pulled you in
Yeah.
to feed your own fear, because that's what
Your
narcissists do,
vulnerability.
right? They
Yeah.
cause you to feed off of your own fear,
That's right.
fear of rejection, fear
Yeah.
of abandonment, fear of not being enough to love.
That's
And
right.
so then they take that and then they start saying, if you go around them, I'm going to leave you.
Yeah. So they use truths, but half truths. Things
Absolutely.
about you that are true, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but not completely true because they're
Mm-hmm.
lying about the other side. They're lying about the other piece.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It makes it very complicated
Mm-hmm.
for the other person and for the people being reeled in as flying monkeys to decipher the truth,
Right.
especially if they don't have the rest of the information. Say if they
Mm-hmm.
don't go check with the other person,
Mm-hmm.
it's easy for some people to take that side. And
Mm-hmm.
narcissists, there are some who are very good at wailing and crying and
Absolutely.
very
They become the victim. They're
distraught. Yeah.
always the victim. And
Yeah.
in that victimization, they know where to go and
Yeah.
lay their heads to
Yeah.
get their support. Because
Hmm.
they also know that those flying monkeys have a level of insecurity as well.
That's right. That's right. And so they're playing on everybody's
Mm-hmm.
insecurities. So if
Absolutely.
you're in the family system and people like us, we have huge extended families.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this can really cause fractions in families because
Well,
now people are taking sides, don't they?
absolutely. And we've talked about this before. Research has shown that mothers have the most narcissistic tendencies and
Mm,
often can be diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. One, because of the umbilical connection,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And two,
They can manipulate that power.
they manipulate
Then
that
if you're
power.
an unhealed mother with a lot of problems that you've not worked
Mhm.
through, yeah, a lot of mothers can really poorly use that power and hurt their children.
And then in that hurting, and I share this with a lot of women. Listen, if your child is strong enough to say, when you did this as a child, this is how it hurt me.
Hmm.
They're not judging you, they're actually just sharing the impact of what your action was. A
Right.
narcissistic mother will say, I guess I just wasn't a good mom.
Yeah. Yeah. Who do you
You can
think
just
you
throw
are?
me away.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
You,
I
since,
gave
since
birth
you
to you.
became, since you graduated, you think you know better than me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The
Yeah. You don't
moment,
love
if
me anymore.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. If
Yeah.
you've had any level of success,
Hmm.
and it makes their little jealousy raise up against you, and you have people saying, "How could a mother be jealous of a child, of a daughter? Because she don't see you as a daughter; she
Yeah.
sees you as competition."
Competition. Competition.
Mm-hmm. And it's really a sad place. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some narcissistic fathers and men as
Hmm.
well. I
Hmm.
I honestly think that the numbers would probably balance out, but a lot of men don't go to the therapist,
Yes.
so they can't get diagnosed, right?
Hmm.
Where a
Hmm.
lot of women are going in. So I
Hmm.
think that if men were actually going in and being diagnosed properly, then
Hmm.
they would have a higher number as well. It'd probably be somewhere like 50-50,
Yeah.
you know? But it's then they raise children,
Right.
right?
Right.
So you have a narcissistic mother, she may raise three. One
Hmm.
out of the three gonna have those narcissistic
Yes.
tendencies.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
They're gonna carry it on. And likewise with
Yeah.
dad. And
Mm-hmm.
so then they go out and they start developing relationships, and then it just kind of goes down the line
Yes.
on what it is that's going on and how that carries over.
Right. So you
Mm-hmm.
have this thread of intergenerationality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And some of
Mm-hmm.
it, because every diagnosis has brain components,
Yes.
some of this is
Yes.
genetically coded.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's just, if it's just fed in the right environment, it
Mm-hmm.
just,
And it flourishes. And then here we go,
mm,
especially in our community. You know,
mhm,
this is how they are,
mhm.
excusing the behavior and making the person that is actually at the end of the abuse feeling black sheep.
That's right. We do this especially to children who are
Mm-hmm.
suffering at the hands of parents. Because in our community, we think parents have a position on the pedestal and
Mm-hmm.
cannot be wrong. We get biblical with it. And so we make it automatic. Yeah. We make it very hard for for many victims who,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And the thing about it is, uh, I would have parents come to me, and of course they would quote the famous scripture: "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right, and you shall have long life." And
Mhm.
I'll say, read one more line: "Parents, don't
Do
provoke
not,
your children to wrath,
wrath. Do not do it.
because
Yeah.
your sin is just as great as theirs."
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we own that, we have to begin to understand, well, where am I? 9 times out of 10 with narcissists, all you have to do is go back into their childhood and see what happened.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I was coming to that piece of narcissistic traits and behaviors where
Mm-hmm.
it's really about a person trying to get their needs met, their needs for a connection met.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for a lot of them, they're trying to connect with you.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to connect with you, but they've learned very negative ways to connect and attach.
Mm-hmm.
And so, oh, they try to bond with you through criticism,
Mm-hmm.
shaming, name calling. I want it like that. So they lie, they make up stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about how narcissism gets cooked? Yeah. During
So
that
the
time?
way that it actually gets cooked, it has to start with their lack of self-love. They
Mm,
have a high level of self thought about their grandiosity, but
mm,
their internal love
mhm.
doesn't connect because they never saw the love,
And they
right?
didn't feel it
And
from
they
their
didn't feel
parents
exactly.
were probably trying to
Mm-hmm.
offer it. We know that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, but it's like, we talk about love languages. Sometimes the child just does not feel it in their body,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they create this internal, very fragile sense of self.
Right. And they create it from a place of, I need to protect me from all people.
Right. So
So
I'm going
I'll pull you close enough
to.
to make you feel like connected to me. And then if I feel like you get too close and you don't honor me and put me on my pedestal, I get to drop you.
Like, yeah, yeah.
Because I was
And
always dropped. I
that's right.
wasn't seen.
That's right. And many of them remember the pain of being
Mm-hmm.
dropped,
Mm-hmm.
or being like love being kept from them. So they use
Mm-hmm.
these as tools because they think it's going to hurt you just as much.
Exactly. Because they do like to evoke pain.
Right.
They do like to evoke emotional, manipulative pain to
Control.
make you feel like you'll never be enough.
Yes. But all of that still is meant to control you because they
Absolutely.
still want access to you
Mm-hmm,
when they're
mm-hmm,
feeling low, when they're feeling not good enough, when
mm-hmm,
they're feeling stressed out, when they want things.
mm-hmm,
Because the lack of empathy says, even if I call you the scum of the earth,
mm-hmm.
next week I want some money, I'm coming to you.
That's so funny. I had a session with a client earlier, and I said to her, uh, she received a compliment from a family member.
Mm,
And I said immediately, what was the ask? And she said, what? What was the ask?
yeah.
And she said, they asked for money.
Mm,
The narcissist will compliment you enough to pull you in, suck whatever they need to suck out of you, and then put you back out there in
Mm-hmm.
space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she was just like, I didn't pick it up. So you have to understand the technique.
Yes. You have to
If
see it.
you
You have to
have to
see
see
it while it's happening so you can protect yourself while it's happening, or else
it.
you'll realize it and it's already been done.
But here's the thing, if it's a mother,
Mm-hmm.
that deep desire for that umbilical connection will
Complicated thing.
often override your ability to see how they're utilizing their
Yeah.
narcissistic tendencies.
And so many children
Mm-hmm.
stay in a lot of pain. They
Mm-hmm.
know they're being used
Mm-hmm.
by their parents. Yeah. But it's hard for them to say no.
But that's how they end up in relationships
Mm.
because of that rejection from mom, or that
Mm-hmm.
rejection from daddy, or even siblings,
Yeah.
drives them to a place that you see me for a minute, okay, okay. It's okay for you not to support me. It's okay. You
Yeah.
still see me. You
Yeah.
say you love me, okay. Nobody's really telling that they love me, so I'm gonna sit right here. You'll
Mm-hmm.
come back around and love me again.
Yeah.
And so they get caught up in that need, like you shared, in that need of fulfillment,
Mm-hmm.
internal need of, I need to be somebody to somebody because I don't know
Okay.
how to be somebody to myself.
Woo, we're going deep, Marcia. All
Mm-hmm.
right. So I'm going to drop down one level lower, talking about how many of us and how many people are primed to become vulnerable to narcissistic tendencies
Mm-hmm.
based on that kind of I love you, I hate you that many kids experience from their
Mm-hmm.
parents and the
Mm-hmm.
people who are supposed to love them. Say you might have been that child that was just a little different or a little extra in the family, and you might have been getting cut, rejected from your parents from childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So the other kids turn out quote unquote okay, and you're there suffering with a narcissistic
Exactly.
sort of
And those kids that turned out okay have a tendency to turn against you
that's right.
because they did not experience
Yeah.
those negative things. They did not experience the abandonment and the rejection, right? And so they can't relate. That's
No.
why, they always seem like they have things going on and you're always a problem.
They get
Well,
mad at you when you say, well, mom, I get frustrated with mom because they
mhm,
have mom on a pedestal because their experience is
exactly.
different.
Well, they learned early to keep mom on a pedestal because they
Boom.
saw how she treated you.
Boom.
And they didn't want that treatment.
Yeah.
So let's keep her up there.
Yeah.
And that way she only has to abuse you and she don't
Yeah.
have to abuse us.
So
But
that
they
so
don't realize that that's
scapegoat.
traumatizing too.
Yeah. They
Mm-hmm.
allowed you to be the scapegoat of the
Mm-hmm.
family to take the brunt of the burn from
Exactly.
a sick parent. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's such a sad state because most people, when they come into therapy, the first thing I hear is, I don't want you to think bad about my mama.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna think one way or the other about your mama. I'm
Yeah.
gonna hear about you. I don't care
Absolutely.
about your mama.
Absolutely.
And right now, we're gonna put your mama on the back burner until we need
Yeah.
to pick her up so that you can be empowered to confront the situation. So
Absolutely.
your mama not coming into therapy. We talking about you.
It's one of the most challenging things for most people to do,
Mm-hmm.
which is when they're revisiting a lot of their traumatic
Mm-hmm.
experiences, to feel in their body, to feel rage, to
Mm-hmm.
feel the deep pain and anger towards their mothers in particular.
Yeah.
Because there's so
Yeah.
much conditioning
Mm-hmm.
that it's a divine, holy, which it
Mm-hmm.
is,
Mm-hmm.
sacred relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But the child
Mm-hmm.
who is now an adult might not even yet be able to see, well, yeah, well, it was also a divine and sacred relationship for my mother. She needed to
Mm-hmm.
have treated me in a
Much
way.
better. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so this is carrying on into a lot of marriages
Yes.
where women conditioned themselves to be connected to a narcissist,
Mm-hmm.
and because of the fear of being alone,
Yes.
the fear of being called out as a single mother,
Yeah.
him maybe the financial provider and she has a little bit coming in, 20,
Mm-hmm.
30 years, they've tolerated this
Yeah.
behavior. And one dam breaks loose
Yeah.
and they're like, I want out.
Yeah.
And then they get mad at the narcissist. He should have seen what he was doing. No, no, no. You conditioned him that it was okay
Yeah.
to treat you in this
That.
manner. And now that you woke up, he needs to figure out a way to pull you back in. So he'll utilize the things of old and not realize that you've grown past it. That's why
Yeah.
people get divorced after 20, 30, 40
That's
years.
right. That's
Because
right.
they wake up in the conditioning and recognize, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And
So
I'm
I
getting
want.
to know me.
Yeah. I want to share a piece of research, y'all. Thank you for joining us tonight. Share the live. This is very important information. I want to share a piece of research. According to a study by Twenge and Campbell, 2009 is when the study happened. There has been 2009, we're in 2024. Yeah. We know
15
it's
years.
intensively growing. Yeah. There has been a significant increase in narcissistic traits in recent generations, partly due to cultural shifts that emphasize individualism and self promotion.
Mm-hmm.
Marcia, can you share a little bit about that? What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. When we are in a space of moving away from collective community,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We and it's okay to be an individual. It really
Exactly.
is. So don't get me wrong in saying this. I'm not
Right.
saying that everything about you has to be collectivism.
Right.
I'm saying that in your individuality, when you isolate yourself in that individuality and put yourself on that pedestal,
Mm-hmm.
there is a tendency for that narcissism to come forward
Mm-hmm.
because it puts you in somewhat of a very selfish place.
Yeah.
And in that selfishness, you can find yourself mistreating others.
Yes.
On top of that, the socialization of social media, the
Mm-hmm.
fact that people don't know how to be in relationship also enhances that. You see a lot of narcissistic tendency coming out through
Speak,
social media,
speak on
right?
it.
And
Yes.
because we've moved from the collective to the individual, we
Mm-hmm.
have a tendency to get into that place where we no longer see
Mm-hmm.
how we can be individual and a part of without
Really.
abuse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so what happened in the community, for generation, we're Generation X. In
Mm-hmm.
Generation X and in the silent generation and the baby boomers and things of that nature, there was more of a collectiveness. We grew up in a situation where if we did something on the block, one of the other parents on the block could go ahead and discipline us, and then we would have to contend with mom and them discipline us too.
That's right.
Now, even these young people are created or built and conditioned in a situation where they don't have to listen to anyone.
That's right.
And so they're operating in places of no guidance.
Something I've heard from parents is
Mm-hmm.
that they're hearing that their kids are embroiled in very dark, very negative things on social media.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
because the parent has no experience with Facebook, they're not on Facebook or they're
Exactly.
not on Twitter or Snapchat, they cannot offer guidance. They cannot shape the behavior.
I
And
got.
so,
It's a little deeper than that.
yes,
Most of the parents went on parenting based on their own conditioning,
yeah,
and they
yeah,
never changed the
yeah,
conditioning.
yeah.
For example, if
To
you're
meet the circumstances, the details are so completely different.
exactly, and,
Yeah,
and so if your parent was a spanker
right.
but was emotionally disconnected,
Mm-hmm.
all you're carrying over is your pain of the disconnect. So,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I'm going to give you everything so you
Mm-hmm.
can like me because I didn't like my parent.
Yeah.
And now I've created this situation of entitlement that
Mm-hmm.
borders into narcissism because
Yeah.
now I didn't put you on this pedestal.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and when I try to bring the pedestal down, that's when you have the kids wanting to kill their parents because the parents said no about an Xbox card or a
Yeah.
Roblox card
Yeah.
or cussing them out,
Yeah.
but you conditioned
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
And that is evidence of that very tender, fragile ego that's on
absolutely.
the inside,
Mm-hmm.
and that we've cooked as parents, that we've shaped as parents. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As we've
Mm-hmm.
tried to navigate all these quick cultural shifts.
Mm-hmm. And we
Yeah.
we have to own it though. We
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 do.
have to own it. We have
We
to
do.
own what our input was and take
Absolutely.
accountability
Absolutely.
instead of fighting.
Yeah.
And
The
I know that's
reality.
getting into the deep. We're gonna get
Right.
into the deep,
Yeah.
but instead of trying to fight to prove, well, I was a good mom. Well, if you
Right.
were, why do you need to announce it?
Yeah.
I'll never announce that I'm a good
Yeah.
mom because one,
Yeah.
who am I announce it to?
Yeah.
If you hadn't seen
Yeah.
me as a mother, you hadn't seen my interaction with my kids and my grandkids, that's
Yeah.
not my issue. I don't need to say I'm a good mom.
That's right. That's
And
right.
there are a lot of mothers out there still looking for that external validation, and so
Hmm.
they abuse the nature of that relationship.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
deep.
We're caught, many parents do feel like they're caught between a rock and a hard place. And we
Hmm.
are basically, we have been unwittingly
Hmm.
grooming many narcissists.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
honestly, just unknowing
Unknowingly.
because you don't trust yourself with you, so
Hmm.
then you don't trust you with your children.
Right. Right.
And so now you're trying to make them your friends, your
Mhm.
counterparts, and the whole 9 yards. For
Yeah.
for
For
what?
what? For what?
For what?
Well, I think part of the four, again, might be lack of knowledge, like feeling
Absolutely.
unprepared in this world today with
Hmm.
all of the technology that's available to our children that we are not aware of.
Absolutely.
We haven't learned how to use it. And yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So a lot of unpreparedness to deal with.
Exactly. And a lot of people having children that has made them their life.
Mm,
They lost their identity when they had
mhm.
children. They stopped being who they are
Right.
because they wanted to cater to these little people so those little people would never feel like they felt.
Yeah. Do
When
you think
we
there was kind of a generation where we were very focused on that? Like you can be anything you want to be. I'm
hmm
not going to tell you, you did wrong.
hmm
You
hmm
think
I
what is
think I
all?
think we created that generation.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think because Gen X, I don't care what anybody say, our
Hmm.
generation went through hell.
Yes. Yeah.
We had to learn to be self-sufficient very early.
Hmm.
We had to learn how to survive. We were told you better go out there, you better go to school, you better represent me best. Don't ask
Yeah.
me for empathy, don't ask me to show you love, don't ask me for any of that, just get it done.
Yeah.
And we had to learn to survive through that. And so we then turned around and said, I'm going to love on this little person a little bit extra
Mhm.
because I didn't get that love. But we
Yeah.
didn't balance the love with setting discipline
Structure.
and giving guidance and
Mhm.
structure. We just said, I'm going to give you everything that you want.
Right. Right. We
And
had
I'm
more money. We had more
had
means.
more money. We had access to more things. I remember raising my kids, and it seemed like it was always a competition of which cousin had that and this. And I was the parent that was like, you ain't earned that.
Hmm.
I'm not about to buy no $150 tennis shoes for you.
Yeah.
You can't take care of these $40 ones.
Yeah. You're gonna be wearing the Uma instead of the Puma. Leave me alone with that. Yeah.
You know, and so and my kids, and we talk about that now. and they operate in that same manner with their kids. Show me,
Yeah.
right? I can afford to get it for you.
Yeah.
Show me how you're going to appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm
Yeah.
not going to withhold the things that you need. I'm going to show you love. I'm going to show you support. But I need you to understand. And I used to tell my kids all the time, I made the biggest mistake. I told them what was mine was theirs. And them jokers would run with it. And I had to get to the point where, because I was a single mother, and I
Yeah.
got caught up in that ideology that as a single mother, I wanted to make sure that my children weren't looked down on.
Right.
And so I found myself,
Compensating.
yes. And then I found myself saying, so y'all gonna eat, but I didn't feed myself? Oh no,
Right.
we're not doing that. Let's balance this
Self-preservation.
whole thing. Exactly. And so it's okay to self-preserve. It
Mm-hmm.
is okay to honor you and to appreciate you. The
Yeah.
issue becomes when you start using that to abuse, demean, and make somebody else feel small.
That's right. So
That's
now,
what. Go ahead.
so now you're the person feeling small.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one being demeaned. You're
Mm-hmm.
feeling like you're fighting for your life with your family because
Mm-hmm.
the baby narcissist or the grown narcissist has dragged you
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
front of family, and well, how do you communicate with
Exactly.
the person? So that's where we're going to go to now, y'all.
Yes.
Questions, type it in the chat. This is why you tuned in.
Mm-hmm.
Learn how to go deep. Yeah, to use the
Yes.
deep technique now to communicate with these people that we know and that we love,
Mm-hmm.
but who we cannot trust
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because we don't know what they're going to do or say
Mm-hmm.
to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we've got to learn how to protect ourselves, like Marcia is saying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like running, a train running over you,
Yes.
and you're just standing in the middle, of the railroad tracks. So
Mm-hmm.
another thing with narcissists is they mean to command the conversations.
Absolutely.
Their voice has got to be the loudest and in their minds the most forceful. They will tell everybody, including the parents, what to do and how to do it. They have taken that role like, yeah, they know it. So
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about the deep technique. Marcia, what do you understand about that strategy?
So the deep technique, I'll say this first.
Mm-hmm.
I utilize the four agreements as a
Yes,
part of everything
yes,
that I do.
yes,
And
yes,
the deep techniques, in my opinion, is a bounce off of the four agreements.
yes.
Because the four agreements says be impeccable with your word.
Word, yes.
Don't take anything personally.
That's right. Yes.
Oh, why am I forgetting the third one? Um,
So there's a book, y'all,
so
by
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Narcissist, and it's called The Four
Four
Agreements.
agreements. Yeah. Be
Okay?
impeccable with your words. Don't take anything personally. Do your best.
Always do your best. Yeah?
Always do your best. And the last one will come to me in a minute.
It'll
If I
come.
don't pull it up,
I'm
it'll
trying to
come.
remember it myself. Yes.
Okay. And so that is part of what I really help people to understand. So when you're talking about the deep technique,
Yes.
the first thing that you really want to understand when you deal with D.E.E.P
Mm-hmm.
is don't defend yourself
Mm.
against a narcissist.
Yes.
Why? Because a narcissist begins to argue with you because their job is going to try to convince you that your defense isn't true.
That's right.
Well, if I know my truth, if I know the actions of my truth,
Mm-hmm.
right, I don't
Mm-hmm.
need to defend it.
That's right.
Oftentimes, people get into a defense place
Mm-hmm.
because they want to prove that they're right.
Yeah.
Listen, y'all, if I'm right, I don't need to prove it.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
just the bottom line. If I'm
Yeah.
right, I don't need to prove that I'm right. I don't need to go toe to toe. Oftentimes right now, people saying, well, if they come at me, I'm just going to match energy. For what?
Yes.
If I'm right, I don't need to defend.
Because the truth is already the truth. Why
The
am I
truth
fighting
is already the truth.
something? What is it in me that that I must, in another way too? Is like, why do I need to be right? It's okay if you think I'm wrong. You have
Mm-hmm.
a right to think
That's
what
it.
it is you think.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right. Yeah.
And you can really say, oh, well, that's cool, and
Yeah.
leave it. Now, when
Yeah.
you go to that's cool, that's your perspective with a narcissist, it drives them crazy
Ooh.
because how dare you
Ooh.
not engage, which
Yeah.
is the first E.
Yeah.
Don't
Yes.
engage.
Yes. Yes.
You listen. The more you engage with a narcissist, the more manipulative they become.
And the thing about it is they are professional. They have become professional at manipulative behavior. So
Mm-hmm.
you are not the professional manipulator.
At all.
So you're exposing yourself to a
Mm-hmm.
professional manipulator.
They
You have
eat
to
manipulation. They eat manipulation for
that's
breakfast,
what they
lunch, and
do.
dinner.
Yeah.
And if you are trying to go toe to toe with a narcissist, you're going to lose.
Yes. And I
There's no
think a lot
win.
of us we become so irate. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
us are very triggered. Who doesn't when somebody lies?
Mm-hmm.
And you were there. You know
Mm-hmm.
the details. And
Mm-hmm.
this person it has been dragging you, telling Tom, Dick, and Harry what didn't happen. They might be putting a little bit of the truth in it to
Mm-hmm.
almost confuse you.
Mm-hmm.
Other people don't know the details. So they're putting a little bit of truth in there.
Mm-hmm.
You're just guilty enough, perhaps, right? That you come out of yourself and you start now trying to defend yourself, explain
Yes.
why I'm a good person. The fact is, the people who know you
Mm.
ought to already know who you are and that
Exactly.
you're a good person. If
Mm-hmm.
you have to
Mm-hmm.
justify your goodness to them, they were part of that crew who already had a little piece of something against you.
I often tell the story that being in leadership at IRS for so many years, people would spread rumors
Mm-hmm.
about me.
Yes.
And when people would come to me, they would try to share with me those rumors. It's like, oh, I don't want to hear that. I know me. And so after they would interact with me, I have a good friend that says, you either gonna love Marcia or you're gonna hate her. There's no in between.
That's
There's no middle way with that. And
yeah.
so when people engage with me and they identify that I am not the big bad wolf that I was
Mm-hmm.
made out to be, and he's like, I'm gonna go back and tell them, no, 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 no. Don't tell them.
Yeah.
I don't need you to defend
Yeah.
me because I
Yeah.
know me.
Yes.
When you are in a position and you know you, see, that's the part about having to defend yourself against a narcissist. Your
Mm-hmm.
best defense, self awareness.
That's right. That's right.
When you don't need to go toe to toe. You
Mm-hmm.
don't need to engage to get them to try to believe your story. You don't need to, the second E,
Yeah.
explain
Mm.
anything. You don't
Yes.
need to explain.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
Why do
Yeah.
you feel the need to explain to a person that has already decided nothing you can say is right?
Yeah.
Why would you want to explain?
I think initially
Mm-hmm.
many people go into shock
Yeah.
when it's happening. Like, say the first time it happens to you, right? With somebody
Mm-hmm.
you knew or somebody you met, and this assault begins.
Mm-hmm.
You were not anticipating it because you're a quote unquote good person. Like, who would come up with a story like
Mm-hmm.
this?
Mm-hmm.
And so your initial, we have fight responses,
Yeah.
freeze responses, or fight response might be
Bring it.
triggered. And we're
Mm-hmm.
like, what? I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
defend myself. I'm going to explain. I'm going to let
Mm-hmm.
him know what's up, right? I'm going to engage.
Mm-hmm.
Ex-
Mm-hmm.
Those are the weapons, though, of a narcissist. And a
Exactly.
lot of people get obliterated with
Mm-hmm.
pointless because they have already made their minds up. They're not going to
Exactly.
change with your
Mm-hmm.
explanations. Yeah. They're not going
Mm-hmm.
that
And
other Another agreement was don't make assumptions.
Don't make assumptions. Thank you. I should
Yeah,
have really
yeah.
remembered that one. And that's the thing, that part of when you're dealing with a narcissist, don't make any assumptions about their why.
Mhm. You do. You have no idea why they're doing it. You will
No
never.
idea. Don't
They
try
might not
to
even
help
know.
them justify their behavior.
I mean, they might not even know because some of that's
Hmm.
subconscious and it's
Exactly.
driving their behaviors.
Hmm.
They don't, if
Hmm.
they don't have self awareness, they might not even know why they're putting you through all of that pain.
Exactly. Exactly. And nor do they care to know
They do
why.
not care.
They
Yeah.
just know that in the midst of who they are, they
Mhm.
have droves of people that will put them on this pedestal
Yeah.
and keep lifting them. And in the words of this man, I could walk down
Fifth
the
Avenue.
center of Fifth Avenue and kill people, and nobody would
Yeah.
question me.
Yeah. But you have
That
this belief. Now think about this. Would you, is that a typical belief that you would have? Think about it.
not typically, not a person
You
that
see what I'm saying?
is, for the lack of a better word, because I don't believe in the word of norm,
Yeah.
because everybody's norm is different. I don't get into the normalization of things,
Hmm.
but a person that's postured as a human
Yeah.
would not consider, I can do whatever I want to.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
people think I'm Jesus.
Yeah.
I can walk down Fifth Avenue and kill as many people as I want, and nobody would say anything. In fact, they would cheer me on.
Who thinks that? Who thinks that? And who says that?
A person, and I read this story the other day, that that individual's mother was institutionalized when he was 3,
Separation.
and
Oh,
he was left to try to figure out life,
yeah.
right? Because daddy was off his rocker doing his thing. And
Yeah.
when that mother bond
Hmm.
disconnected
Yeah.
and then came back,
Yeah.
it was pedestalized.
Yes. The thing about separation from parents is the child doesn't understand why.
Mm-hmm,
The
mm-hmm,
child just feels the pain, and the
mm-hmm,
child comes up with stories to explain the pain.
mm-hmm.
Often kids take responsibility. Usually it's not good, right? They think I did
Exactly.
wrong, I'm bad, I'm not enough. Well, I need to figure out a way to be okay.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
sometimes you can create that kind of personality to be quote unquote okay, except that
Exactly.
it causes you,
Exactly.
yeah,
Now, the last one of the deep is personalized.
mhm,
Don't make it personal.
yeah,
When you're dealing with a narcissist, expect them to say hurtful things.
expect it.
Expect them to try to rip your soul out.
That's their MO. That's what
That's
they do.
their MO.
Expect it.
But
Yeah.
when you don't take it personally,
Mhm.
when you recognize that it's a deficit in them, not in you,
Yeah,
they no longer have the power to hold you in bondage.
that's right. So the intended purpose fails.
Hmm.
The intended mission of the
Hmm.
missile is blocked by your
Exactly.
understanding that I
Hmm.
have my boundaries that will
Hmm.
not allow these words to
Hmm.
come into my spirit.
Hmm. Now,
Yeah.
if I were going to add something to deep, I would say create an exit. You
Hmm.
have to understand that you're not going to change
No,
this person.
no.
Building your self awareness and creating the exit plan is the thing that will empower you the most. So, to run back through the D's real quick for the deep, don't defend yourself, don't engage, don't explain, and don't personalize.
Yes.
Find your way to give yourself permission to exit.
Hmm.
Don't allow connections like
Hmm.
children or finances or anything like that
Houses.
to stop you from getting to your peace place. Here's the other thing. When you get to that peace point, they're gonna
Mm,
put you out anyway.
absolutely.
They ain't got nothing else left for you. They ain't
Yeah,
got nothing else left for you. So when
yeah,
you get to that peace point, your exit plan should already be in place because they gonna discard you.
yeah,
Narcissists pick up, hold up temporarily until you lift them up, and then they discard
yeah. When they have no more use for you.
when they have absolutely
And
no
they
more
and they won't
use.
have use for you anymore when the barbs that they're throwing at you no longer have impact. There's no energetic response or emotional response from you. So there's
Exactly.
about when they say the supply. So a narcissist feeds off of your responses, your pain.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
want you to hurt. They want you to
Mm-hmm.
hurt, y'all. They
They
want
want
you.
you to hurt so that you can come back to them
Yeah.
to feel good.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they can
Yeah.
hurt you again.
They hurt you,
Mm-hmm.
heal you, to hurt you, to heal you. I'll make you feel better.
Well,
No,
they
you
don't
know,
heal, they bandage.
like there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They
They put
bandage.
a little neosporin on it,
Yeah.
make it look like it's healing,
That's right. I didn't
and
mean
then
to
they
hurt
bust it
you.
up.
I
Mm-hmm.
still love you. You're still my friend. I was just stressed out. Or you made me do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you weren't like XYZ, I wouldn't have done it. Things
Mm-hmm.
like that.
And understand that narcissism can show up in any kind of relationship.
Any kind of relationship.
Anything that ends in ship, a narcissist can show up in.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've been thinking about the explain of that deep technique.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see instances where, at least for the sake of the record, to state your position, to state
Mm-hmm.
the details of what happened. Say you have something going on with a family member,
Mm-hmm.
a sibling or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and that sibling runs off and tells the rest of your family XYZ. I can see a place where you state what happened one time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One time, get on the
Mm-hmm.
record
Mm-hmm.
where you deny, no, this is not what happened. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do that, or that was not my intention.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One time, but
And
stop
leave it.
running
Mm-hmm.
around after people trying to explain to them what really happened.
Exactly.
They ought to know you, and that ought
And
to be enough.
I would actually say, is it worth you taking the time to explain your position?
I think it does for the
Mm-hmm.
record's sake.
Mm-hmm.
It more than one time. I
Right.
would say, because if there was somebody, say, other family members who didn't know and they were coming,
Mm-hmm.
that person went to them and they were coming to you to get your side, I would do that one
One
time.
time. And yeah,
One,
I totally agree. I totally agree
and
that
that's
if
it.
someone comes to you, but we want to break the habit of having to corral people to tell what happened.
What
It,
happened?
it,
Because
it
I
doesn't
want
it
the
doesn't
one
matter.
calling, hey, did you hear such and such? Let me tell you what happened. No. If somebody comes to you to ask you what really happened, because they're
Mm-hmm.
hearing X, Y, and Z,
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that, right? As
Mm-hmm.
opposed to
Mm-hmm.
going to one position of,
Exactly.
let me tell you what happened. And you get to do with that whatever
What
it
you
is.
want. Exactly. And I usually would start off, if that occurs, I usually say, my perspective of
Mhm,
that interaction was
mhm.
this. I'm
Yeah.
still not going to give the energy of trying to demean that
No,
other person because
no,
that puts them back in a power seat.
absolutely.
I can honestly say, from my perspective, during this engagement,
Yeah.
this is what happened
And nor am I going to try to convince that person
at
of
all.
the fact that I'm right or I'm wrong. That is
At
not my
all.
duty. That's not my business. You
You
get to
came to
decide.
me and asked a question.
I'm telling you what happened.
I'm going to say this, and I don't care who you share it
Yeah.
with, but if you
Yeah.
share it from what I'm saying, not your
Absolutely.
add ons.
Something
Now,
else
mm-hmm,
that people need to realize when it
mm-hmm,
comes to the part of explaining yourself more than one time. Narcissists, many of them actually look at you explaining yourself as a sign of weakness.
absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll take advantage of that
Yes,
again. And
to
so,
manipulate.
what I would suggest is If you're engaged in that type of situation, stop for a moment and ask yourself, why do I need to explain?
Absolutely.
So when I say I won't engage to try to explain, even if they come and ask, if you come to me and you've already made up your mind, I'm
Yeah.
not getting ready to try to change your mind about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And so for me, I ask myself a lot of why questions.
Yes.
And
Yes.
what is my intent with whomever I'm dealing with? Why do I need to understand
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
have them to understand
Saying me.
me?
Why? I'm an adult. I'm a grown woman, right? You're a grown person. You pay your own bills. You feed yourself. Who are you explaining yourself to over
Mhm.
and over and over again over something you know? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
be confident in your no. That means that you actually have to spend time with yourself, getting to know and understand who you are, identify. I don't believe in weaknesses, but I believe we all have areas that we can improve on.
Yes.
Identify those areas of improvement that could possibly be utilized by a narcissist to tear you down.
Yes.
Strengthen those areas so that there are no potential gaps.
Yes.
But even in that, if that person tries to use that area of improvement, still ask yourself, what am I feeling? What
Yes.
did I put out there? Instead of making it a personal thing, you did this to me, you took advantage. No, what did I actually feel? What did
Yes.
I leave myself available to and for?
Right.
And what do I need to change? Don't give the energy back to other people because of your missing link of being seen.
So what you're saying is use that as an opportunity to grow
Absolutely.
yourself.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This painful
Absolutely.
event, this painful experience has got to count for something positive in you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
shared with a client earlier today as we talked about just going through different places in life and
Mm-hmm.
experiences that leave a traumatic footprint. And what
Yeah.
I shared with her is if you look at that traumatic situation
Mm-hmm.
and turn around and say to yourself, I'm so grateful that you made the awareness, that you
Yeah.
checked in with you on how it made you feel. I'm so grateful. And this is you having your conversation with you. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful that you trusted you enough to be vulnerable in
Mm-hmm.
this situation. When you start doing that internal gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
things in your life will begin to change
That's right.
because you're not putting yourself on the hook with those areas of improvement or that negative conversation. You're
Mm-hmm.
literally filling that space with gratitude and positivity
Positivity.
that reduces the opportunity for a narcissist to take advantage of you.
That's right. Because
Yeah,
you're what you're doing is you're providing self-care
absolutely.
in the moment.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
self care, listen, y'all. Self care is more than getting your nails done, your hair done, and soaking in a bathtub.
Okay.
Your self care really should be about how am I healing my inner self?
How am I restoring? How am I coming back to myself?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Restoration. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And being able to tap into that and putting yourself on your journey of your own authenticity
Yeah.
is a level of freedom that will change your life.
Absolutely. And you always have control over
Always
that.
have control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Don't
is
give
where
your
it's got
control
to be.
away so easy.
Exactly,
Yeah.
which is where it's got to be. It's got to be with
Mm-hmm.
you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if nothing else, if you all don't take anything else out away from the conversation tonight, recognize the validation that you need from yourself starts internally first. It's not an external job, it is an internal job.
Yeah.
We get in trouble
Yeah.
when we are looking for external validation. We are
From the
trying to people
spouse,
please.
parents, the
Anybody.
child. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have to do it. It's a you work. It's a
Yes.
you work. You got to
Yes.
work that thing for you because here's the truth. Nobody owes you to be happy.
Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
That's not their job, really.
Mm-hmm.
They can augment our happiness by the way we experience ourselves when we're with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not
Yeah.
their task or their duty to make us
Mm-hmm.
happy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
This
we
is
went,
good.
it's good, right? It's good.
Mm-hmm.
So Marcia went over the deep method. Don't defend yourself. Don't engage with a person who has already started off on social media by calling you a bad name and they've never
Mm-hmm.
met you. Don't engage. Yeah. Don't explain. Don't try to tell them why they are wrong about you. They don't mean to get to know you. Trust me. If they've started off by calling you a nasty name, they have already made their decision about you. And you don't need to
Mm-hmm.
explain to them. And the P's don't personalize it because you could be a saint. And if a person means to make you a devil in their mind, they will make you a devil
Mm-hmm.
in their
Mm-hmm.
mind. So
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing that for? What are you trying to, well, I
Mm-hmm.
guess maybe I am the devil. Maybe I really didn't do it
Mm-hmm.
for them the way that they needed it done. Well, you
Mm-hmm.
did your best. And that's got to
That's
be
it.
enough. Yeah, you got
Yep.
to know that. That's got to be enough.
It's got to be enough. You have to let yourself know that you're
Yeah,
enough for you.
yeah.
We're always evolving. We're always healing. Healing takes time and it takes work.
Hmm.
But I would encourage anyone to always ask the why.
Yeah.
Ask the why. Why am I feeling this way? What's my intention?
Hmm.
And that'll change how you operate and or respond.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, traditional methods
Mm-hmm.
of communicating with people who have narcissistic tendencies, it
Mm-hmm.
does not work again because y'all, there's nothing to defend. And once we try defending ourselves against them, they come up quickly with reasons. They pull other things from last year, from, oh, but look at this. They find it just is, it doesn't end well typically for you
Mm-hmm.
because they use certain techniques. They don't even know that they're doing this stuff because people
Exactly.
have learned how to do this stuff from the time they were kids to survive in their family
Mm-hmm.
of origin, in their families of origin is where
Mm.
they learn how to be that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
based on traumatic events like you're saying, separation, yeah, confusion as a child, yeah. You are not going to win, nor ought you to be trying to win. What is the point of it? What's the point of it? Yeah. Non-engagement keeps them from gaining power over you. Because
Period.
when you start engaging with a narcissist, you're giving them an opening to say, oh, I dragged her. She tried to come for me and I dragged her. I told her. Oh, I told her. Stop. There's no,
Mm-hmm.
there's
There's no
really
point.
no point.
Mm-hmm.
No point. Again, I feel with the explaining, I would make one good faith attempt to
Mm-hmm.
explain, well, no, you're telling me I didn't do this right or the way you wanted it, and I'm a
Mm-hmm.
horrible person because of it. But let me tell you, no, this is what I did, and this was my intention. If I
Mm-hmm.
have zero intention of swaying, that's it. Somebody
Mm-hmm.
else comes to me and they heard this and they want to know. If it's a person I care about enough, I might give them an explanation. If it's
Right.
somebody I think is not your business, I'm like, simple, this person has a right to their thoughts and their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let it go. That's not my job. Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
the book for Agreement by Don Miguel Ruiz is a beautiful
It is.
resource for you to learn how to live and be okay authentically in your body.
Absolutely.
Yes. To be okay
Absolutely.
in your body, to be okay in your body without having to justify your existence to other people.
That part.
Yeah, you don't have to
That
justify
part.
how you feel or why you think what you
Mm-hmm.
feel or think. It is
Mm-hmm.
what it is
It
because
is.
I am who I am. The end.
That's it. That's it. There's nothing else to say. Get their
That's
self-awareness. And that's the
it.
end.
That's it.
That's the
I think
end.
it's I think it's important to acknowledge too that that narcissistic person has got every right to see it the way they see it.
Absolutely. And listen, autonomy is a beautiful thing.
Beautiful thing.
Everybody, even a narcissist, has a right to think and or feel the way
Absolutely.
that they do. The
Absolutely.
same way you have a right to think and feel for yourself.
Yeah,
The difference is you have to learn for you. You don't need to defend you.
that's right.
You don't need to defend you. You don't need to prove you. That's where a lot of people get sucked in, is that need to prove that
Yes.
I'm not what they say I am.
I'm a good person. This idea that I have to defend this good person. It's okay that they think you're a bad person.
It is. Because the truth is people are going to think whatever they want to think about you. It's
Absolutely.
not your job to change that thought,
No,
especially if they're not willing to interact with you.
absolutely.
Now, if you come to Marcia and you have a preset notion about how Marcia is, and you
Hmm.
actually want to know how Marcia is, Marcia gonna show up and show you. But she is not going to try to prove to you anything about what you think you know. Because
Hmm.
here's what I know. Unless you're in my circle, you don't really know me.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
why do I need to teach somebody about me that's not a part of my circle?
Stop. Stop. Yeah. I don't owe you anything.
Period.
And that's really about setting boundaries,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what you want to talk about or not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If a random person or somebody you feel like, I don't want to talk more about this reason why this person is calling me names or
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
about me, set your boundaries by redirecting the conversation
Exactly.
right to their thoughts and feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can we plan our family get together now?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my sister over here, who's the narcissistic person, she has a right to that. But
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about something else. Really, I don't.
And
I'm
see
not.
me, I'll just say, well, I'll tell y'all what. When y'all finish this part, let me know. I'm gonna come back in. I'm gonna leave out for a
That's
minute. When you all finish this part, I'll come back in and then I'll offer suggestions and then I'm
yeah.
gonna go on about my business. Because for me, I earned the right to protect my energy.
That's right.
And
That's your
so I
responsibility.
choose the environments that I'm going to engage in. And if
Yes,
I feel like it's going to be a hostile environment, I can choose not to be in it.
and this is how we create the lives we want.
Yeah. Oof. Yes.
This is how we do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you got to cast down fear, you all. You have to understand that when you walk away from situations or people that aren't healthy for you, the universe already has it aligned for the people that you're supposed to attract that are going to be healthy for you. Shoot,
Absolutely.
Dr. Triffy, we came together by universal connection and we've been at the sides ever since. I
Absolutely.
lost some people along the way,
Yeah.
especially therapist friends or what I thought was, friends or associates. But then I gained this light.
That's right.
When you are open to want to experience the life that you desire and manifest, the universe will answer.
And that means you have to take ownership and responsibility for cutting and terminating certain experiences.
Exactly. Exactly.
Painful,
Exactly.
but you've got to
Mm-hmm.
be able to do it, as opposed to letting them leave your life, which is what a lot of us do, especially in relationships where the other person won't change. We say, well,
Mm-hmm.
you know, maybe they'll leave me, or no, you might be the one who has to leave.
Period.
That's it.
Make your exit plan.
That's important.
Make your
That's
exit plan.
important.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so important to understand that people with those personality traits, it's a part of their personality structure. It's a part of who they are, how they see themselves. Oh, I tell people off. Oh, nobody will talk to me any kind of way. Yeah, they're the ones who are like, they've decided that that's who they are. They're not going
Mm-hmm.
to change for you just because you're feeling a little hurt. They mean for you to hurt. And
Mm-hmm.
the termination might have to happen, the gray rocking where you pretend as if they don't exist.
That gray rocking is a jewel.
Like a nice cold drink.
Mhm. Baby, when I cannot see you and you in my face, I
Oh,
got my
Lord.
control back. I got my
Ooh.
power back.
When
Yes.
you're right here and I can pretend as if you do not exist. Because you
Absolutely.
don't. Yeah, I can't have you in my
Not in the space that I'm
no,
in.
no,
I'll
no.
always be cordial. Hey, how you doing?
Yes, yes.
But that's it. Then I don't see you.
Yeah. Look, and
It
I
ain't
no,
personal, y'all. It ain't personal.
what
Don't
about
take it
you?
personal.
No,
Mm-hmm.
it's about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's about this
Wow.
experience I'm creating for myself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
maintaining my safety and I'm actually protecting you because we might start talking and we might get into it. And I'm trying to save you from all of that
Exactly.
extra.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Be true to yourself. Be
Yes.
good to yourself.
Yes.
Show yourself some gratitude and know that it's okay to create an exit plan because you do actually deserve better.
You do.
Mhm.
So we've got something here from Maria.
Okay.
So will you, Marcia, take a
Mm-hmm.
step at it? Maria says, I'm looking at my family dynamics, which started out with two parents and
Mm-hmm.
8 children. Then father left. He migrated, leaving mother with 8 children. She was also pregnant with ninth child. Child died from
Mm-hmm.
yeah, grief and trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Family separation from dad, pain, grief, trauma. Kids don't really understand the nitty gritty of what's happening. All they know is dad
Mm-hmm.
has left me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then mom, sadness, I'm sure, from dad, from the baby dying. Grief
Mm-hmm.
takes a good 3 years to recover from. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
prolonged,
Longer. Mm-hmm.
complicated, many, many years. So Maria says, I was 7 at the time. 7.
Baby.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
man. And filled at 7, I become now parentified because I filled the vacuum role left by my father and my mother, who's
Mm-hmm.
emotionally not present because she's
Mm-hmm.
grieving, unable to function due to grief.
Mm-hmm.
I have been now a pseudo because, yes, that 7-year-old
Mm-hmm.
assumes this
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
child's sense of, I got this, I can take care of this,
Mm-hmm.
parent role to my siblings most of my life. And now in our middle age, when many of us have health issues, I am beginning to notice narcissistic behavior in two of my siblings.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
So the first thing I can see where the narcissistic tendency began because mom had to go through an abandonment cycle because of her grief and didn't know how to process.
Mhm,
Maria felt, whether she was conditioned to feel this way or she saw the need to
mhm,
fill in all of the gaps. So that pushed her into a place that she was no longer a child.
mhm,
And she took on a role because she conditioned everybody to depend on her.
mhm,
And the reason why there are so many health issues is
mhm.
because nobody has talked about the trauma.
So, what does the body do with
And it attached
unaddressed trauma?
itself to
Mhm.
the body and it
Yeah.
shows up as anxiety, depression, high blood pressure, diabetes, congestive heart failure, liver disease, kidney disease, bladder disease, and the list goes on.
Yeah.
Now, with those narcissistic siblings, you now, Maria, have to go back in and establish boundaries. But
Mm.
before you can establish the boundaries, you have to give yourself permission to come out of the role as a parental figure
Yeah.
for your siblings because they're not your children.
They are not your children.
And you don't owe them to parent
No.
them, and you owe yourself the relief from the bondage
Yeah.
that parenting has caused for you. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, giving yourself permission to establish boundaries, which the first one should be is no.
Yes.
No without explanation.
I
No,
always
I'm
say
not
like,
doing
no,
that.
period.
Just no. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to have an explanation. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you always did. No.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you acting funny? No. Now
Yeah.
I'm going to end the call because I've answered your request.
Yes.
No. You have to give yourself permission to come out of that place. The
Mm,
next thing that I would encourage for yourself is to get into trauma therapy
absolutely.
because you have to let that 7-year old come forward. She
Mm-hmm.
needs to have a voice and
Mm-hmm.
she needs to be relieved from duty.
Absolutely. A duty that was so much bigger than a 7-year-old.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And something to remember is as the adult is relating to the siblings,
Mm-hmm.
to remember that even if your body might feel like it, your siblings did not ask you to assume the parental role with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I would add to the things I've already suggested is forgive yourself.
Yes. For doing the
For,
best you could.
forgive
A
yourself for
7-year-old.
taking on the role.
Absolutely.
Hmm. Hmm.
For doing the
Yeah.
best you could as a
Hmm.
7-year-old.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And forgive yourself for carrying it on for so long.
For so long. Yeah.
So that way you can get off that that hook.
It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
I
Yeah,
hope
yeah,
that answers your question
yeah,
and helps to encourage you, Maria.
yeah.
But definitely get into trauma therapy.
Yes. A
That's going to
book
help.
a
Hmm.
book that I thought about is The Body Keeps the Score.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yes.
grandmom's hand. That
Say it again.
grandmother's hand or grandmom's hand is written from a black perspective of
There
the
you
body
go.
keeps the score. Hmm.
Okay.
So either one of those will work.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's beautiful, Marcia. Thank you for that. Thank you for
You're
sharing that,
welcome.
Maria.
Yes,
We
yes.
heal, we learn and we heal from listening to other people's stories. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Marcia, it is 8:27, an hour and a half of a beautiful and meaningful conversation.
Yes.
This has been so long. I'm so thankful to you for showing up and sharing your expertise with us.
Thank you
Your
for inviting me.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. Thank you for saying yes. Faye Dasheen and June, happy Thursday. Y'all, please do us a favor, share the live because
Yes.
somebody else who watches your page needs to hear this tonight. Okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Needs to hear this tonight. So, Marcia, what are you leaving us with tonight? What are your takeaways? What are you leaving us with tonight?
So, what I would like to leave you all with is you matter.
You matter.
Regardless of what the situation is, you matter. It's
Hmm.
okay to heal. And
Hmm.
regardless of how long the situations have occurred, it's okay for you to get
Hmm.
your healing and begin to walk in the process of your purpose and being able to walk in the assignment. We all have been assigned to this planet. And
Hmm.
oftentimes, when we have traumatic situations, we can miss our assignment through the fog. It's
Mm.
okay for you to heal, and it's
Yeah.
okay to walk in your purpose. So go get your healing, get into therapy.
Beautiful.
Everybody needs therapy. I don't care who you are, everybody needs therapy, even
Hmm.
if it's nothing else but to release a lot of things that you're holding.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
don't take no wooden nickels from the
No,
narcissist.
no, no max, no max. So
No
thank you,
mas.
Marcia. To the rest of you, especially those of you who are mental health professionals,
Mhm.
who are life coaches, who might be pastoral counselors, who might be psychologists. If you're looking to learn a fabulous tool that I will stand by till the day that I die,
10 toes down.
it goes down to help people restore themselves from
Mhm.
traumatic experiences like we're hearing from Maria. I'm talking about clinical hypnotherapy. I'm
Mhm.
talking about a skill that you will never regret learning.
Mhm.
It's a
Mhm.
skill that I've used personally to recover. I used it, it was the thing that helped me recover from prolonged grief disorder.
Mhm.
I had
Mhm.
been suffering from grief for a good 10 years, almost
Yeah.
every day, steady. I couldn't shake it. I couldn't shake it. I couldn't shake it until I personally experienced clinical hypnotherapy. So I'm offering my next training, which Marcia is certified in. I'm offering next training October 11 to 13, all online via Zoom. The course is approved by the Georgia Licensing Professional Organization for 20 core CEUs. You are welcome to now go to my website, drtriffy.com, Triffy as in TRIPHI. So it's drtriphi.com to register. If you need a flexible payment plan, email me at drtriffy@gmail.com. And keep tuning in for more. Yeah?
Mhm.
Yeah, keep tuning in for more on my Dr. Triffy Facebook page. I talk more about this kind of stuff, like real clinical, psychological, mental health related work. On my Margaret Wallace Facebook page, I am changing the world one kindness and coffee at a time.
Oof, I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Yes.
Yes. So Marcia, June is telling you thank you. She appreciates you.
You're so welcome. Thank you for tuning in and share this video. There are so many people that are afraid to come to lives like this because they're still hiding behind a mask. So
Yes.
share it where they can watch it in the privacy of their own space.
Wednesday says, thank you for this accurate info and as usual, a great program. Thank you, Wednesday.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Love
Yes.
it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Blessings to you all.
Blessings. Have a wonderful evening, y'all. So, in our Creole language, which I like to end with, I will tell you, nous que parler en autre fois. In English, that means we will talk another time. Peace.